Let me ask you something uncomfortable, something you've probably been afraid to admit, even to yourself. Have you noticed, the more aware you become, the fewer people you can tolerate? I'm not talking about hatred. You don't hate people. That would be too simple, too clean. No, it's something far more unsettling than that. You just can't pretend anymore. You can't nod along to empty conversations. You can't laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You can't celebrate achievements that mean nothing. You can't act excited about the things that once excited everyone around you. And slowly, quietly, without fanfare or announcement, people start to disappear from your life. Not because you pushed them away, but because you stopped feeding the illusion they needed from you. Perhaps you've blamed yourself. Perhaps you've wondered if something is wrong with you, if you've become too cold, too cynical, too difficult. Let me tell you something that may cut through that confusion like a blade through fog. This video is not for people who want more friends. This video is for people who are confused about why they lost them. If that's you, then sit with me for a while, because what I'm about to tell you will either destroy you or set you free. The first dark truth: awareness is social suicide. Society, my friend, does not run on truth. It never has. It runs on comfort, on shared delusions, on collective pretending, on the quiet agreement that we will all lie to each other in order to avoid the unbearable weight of reality. Happiness, a performance. Success, a costume. Optimism, a drug we take to numb the pain of existence. And most people are perfectly content with this arrangement because the alternative, facing the void, the emptiness, the meaninglessness, is too terrifying to bear. But you are not most people. You see, there comes a moment in a person's life when the veil drops, when the patterns become visible, when the scripts people follow become so obvious, so predictable, that you can no longer unsee them. You begin to notice the manipulation in casual conversation, the ego games disguised as friendship, the emotional vampirism masked as connection, the validation-seeking behavior hidden beneath every Instagram post, every humble brag, every desperate plea for attention. And once you see it, you cannot participate in it anymore. Here's the dark truth no one wants to say out loud. Most friendships are not built on truth. They are built on mutual pretending. Two people agreeing to ignore each other's lies. Two egos stroking each other. Two prisoners of illusion, holding hands in the dark, terrified to turn on the light. But spiritually awake people, they've already turned on the light. They've stopped reacting to drama because they see it for what it is, theater. They've stopped engaging in gossip because they recognize it as distraction. They've stopped participating in emotional chaos because they understand it as manipulation. And you know what happens? People call them cold, distant, arrogant, changed. But they haven't changed their personality. They've changed their tolerance. They can no longer tolerate lies, not from others, and certainly not from themselves. Let me be even more specific about what this looks like in your daily life. You're at dinner with old friends. They're complaining about their jobs, their relationships, their lives. The same complaints you've heard 100 times before. But here's what you notice now. They don't actually want solutions. They want validation for staying stuck. You offer genuine advice, real perspective, a path forward. And suddenly, the energy shifts. The warmth drains from the room. They look at you like you've violated some unspoken rule, because you have. The rule is, we pretend together, we suffer together, we enable each other's victimhood. We never ever suggest that the prison we're in has an open door, or perhaps you're scrolling through social media. Everyone is performing their best life, fake smiles, curated moments, desperate proclamations of happiness that reek of emptiness. And you used to participate, you used to post your own performance, but now, you can't. Your finger hovers over the share button, and something inside you recoils. Because you've seen behind the curtain, you know what those posts really are. Cries for validation from people who feel invisible. Digital applause to fill a void that no amount of likes can fill. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is what I mean by awareness being social suicide. You haven't become judgmental. You've become truthful. And truth in a society built on comfortable lies is the most antisocial act you can commit. Because society does not reward honesty, it punishes it. You didn't lose your friends because you became a worse person. You lost them because you stopped being a comfortable one. Why most people feel uncomfortable around you. Now let me tell you why people feel so uncomfortable around you. It's not what you say. Often it's what you don't say. You see, spiritually awake people function like mirrors, polished, unforgiving mirrors, and most people do not want to see their reflection. When you stop engaging in their games, when you stop validating their illusions, when you stop feeding their ego with the emotional responses they crave, something unsettling happens. They feel exposed. Their insecurities rise to the surface, their emptiness becomes visible, their fake identities begin to crack, and they don't blame themselves for this discomfort. Oh no, they blame you. This is the psychology of avoidance. Human beings will do anything to avoid pain, and truth, my friend, is painful. It's easier to label you as negative, as judgmental, as too deep, than it is to confront the void within themselves. Your silence threatens people more than your words ever did, because silence is a void, and in that void, people are forced to confront themselves, their own thoughts, their own emptiness, their own lack of substance. Think about it. When was the last time someone told you that you've changed, that you're not fun anymore, that you're too serious? What they're really saying is, you no longer reflect back to me the image I want to see of myself. You see, most relationships are transactional. People befriend you not for who you are, but for how you make them feel about themselves. They need you to laugh at their jokes, so they can feel funny. They need you to admire their achievements, so they can feel successful. They need you to engage with their drama, so they can feel important. But when you stop performing these functions, when you stop being their emotional mirror, they have no use for you. And here's the truly dark part. They're not even conscious of this. They genuinely believe you're the problem, that you've become negative, withdrawn, difficult. They cannot fathom that perhaps, just perhaps, they've been using you. Most people fill this void with noise, with distractions, with constant chatter and meaningless activity. But you've learned to sit in the silence, and that terrifies them. You don't validate their illusions anymore. You don't emotionally feed their ego. You don't react the way they expect you to react. And so slowly, imperceptibly, they drift away, not with confrontation, not with drama, just distance. Phone calls become texts, texts become occasional likes, likes become nothing, and you're left standing there, wondering if you did something wrong. Let me tell you, you did everything right. You committed the ultimate crime in a society built on pretending. You became real. Now we arrive at the paradox. The cruel joke that awareness plays on those who dare to wake up. The more aware you become, the lonelier you feel. Not because you need people, but because you've outgrown noise. You see, there are two kinds of loneliness in this world. The first is crowd loneliness. This is the loneliness of being surrounded by people who don't see you, who don't understand you, who interact with a mask you've worn for so long, you've forgotten it's not your face. This is the loneliness of the party, the loneliness of the family gathering, the loneliness of the workplace. You are there, but you are not present. You are seen, but you are not known. This is the loneliness that drives people to madness, because it is a loneliness wrapped in the illusion of connection. The second kind of loneliness is silent solitude. This is the loneliness of the aware, the loneliness of those who have walked away from the crowd, not out of hatred, but out of necessity. This loneliness is quieter, deeper, but strangely, more honest. Here's what I want you to understand. Loneliness is not the absence of people, it's the absence of illusion. When you can no longer participate in the shared delusions that bind people together, you will feel alone, even in a room full of people. But this aloneness is not emptiness, it is clarity. You feel lonely, not because you need people, but because you outgrew noise. You feel lonely because small talk feels like suffocation, because surface-level connection feels like starvation, because pretending feels like dying slowly, and so you retreat, not out of weakness, but out of self-preservation. You retreat into the silence, into the books, into the thoughts, into the only place where truth still exists, your own mind. And yes, it hurts, but it hurts in the way that removing a splinter hurts, painful in the moment, but necessary for healing. Most people never experience this kind of loneliness, because they never dare to be alone with themselves. But you've crossed that threshold, and there's no going back. Why spiritually awake people rarely find their tribe. Now you might be thinking, surely there are others like me, surely I can find my tribe. And I must tell you, with all the gentleness I can muster, this is a dangerous hope, because here is the brutal truth. Truly awake people are rare, not because awakening is impossible, but because most people stop halfway. They taste awareness, recoil from its bitterness, and retreat back into comfort. They read the books, they watch the videos, they mouth the philosophies, but they do not live them. And so you will meet many people who speak your language, but very few who understand your silence. Intellectual and spiritual superiority, and yes, I use that word deliberately, isolates. Not because you think you're better than others, but because your concerns, your questions, your very way of experiencing the world becomes incompatible with the majority. Most conversations begin to feel shallow, not because the people are bad, but because they're still playing a game you've stopped playing. They talk about their careers as if they matter, their achievements as if they're permanent, their plans as if the universe cares, and you sit there, nodding politely, while inside you're screaming, none of this means anything. Small talk feels draining. Not because you're antisocial, but because you can no longer fake excitement about nothing. You don't hate people, you just can't pretend that their new car is profound, that their promotion changes the fundamental emptiness of existence, that their vacation photos represent anything more than a desperate attempt to convince themselves they're happy. And so the distance grows. Now I must warn you against romanticizing this isolation. Do not make the mistake of thinking your loneliness makes you special. It doesn't. It makes you aware. And awareness is not a trophy, it's a burden. You will meet people who wear their isolation like a badge of honor, who use their awakening as an excuse for arrogance, for cruelty, for emotional coldness. These are not awake people. These are traumatized people who've mistaken numbness for enlightenment. Do not become one of them, which brings me to the mistake, the dangerous path that awaits those who walk alone for too long. The mistake is this, turning awareness into arrogance. You see, there is a very thin line between wisdom and bitterness, between solitude and misanthropy, between seeing clearly and seeing nothing but darkness. Many people upon waking up become so disgusted with the world that they close themselves off entirely. They stop trying, they stop connecting, they stop participating in life altogether, and they call this enlightenment. But it's not enlightenment, it's surrender. Schopenhauer, that's me by the way, spent much of my life in isolation. I saw the absurdity of human existence, the pettiness, the suffering, the endless futile striving. And yes, I became bitter. But here's what I learned too late. Awareness should bring clarity, not coldness. Solitude should bring peace, not poison. The danger of walking alone is that you begin to forget how to walk with others, even the rare few who might understand you. You become so accustomed to your own mind that other minds feel like intrusions, so comfortable in silence that conversation feels like violence. And slowly, imperceptibly, your isolation transforms from a choice into a prison. Do not let this happen to you. Awareness is not about being alone forever. It's about choosing depth over noise. It's about being selective, not closed, discerning, not dismissive, rare in your connections, but real when they happen. One genuine conversation is worth 1,000 shallow friendships. One person who sees you is worth an entire crowd that doesn't. But you have to remain open to that possibility. The mistake is thinking that because most people don't understand you, no one ever will. The mistake is hardening your heart in the name of protecting it. The mistake is confusing strength with stone. Don't make that mistake. So how do you live with this? How do you navigate a world that feels increasingly alien? How do you maintain your sanity when connection feels impossible? Let me offer you some truths that have helped me. First, stop counting friends. Society has conditioned you to measure your worth by the number of people who tolerate your presence. This is madness. Quality is not quantity. Depth is not breadth. One person who truly knows you is infinitely more valuable than 100 who know your name. Measure peace instead. Do you feel at peace when you're alone? Then you're not lonely, you're free. Do you feel at peace when you're with certain people? Then keep them close. Everyone else is optional. Second, reframe solitude. Solitude is not a punishment, it's a skill. Most people cannot be alone with themselves for even an hour without reaching for their phone, their television, their anything to drown out the silence. But you've learned to sit in that silence, to befriend it, to find within it a kind of companionship that no external person can provide. This is not weakness, this is strength. This is the strength of the philosopher, the artist, the mystic, the thinker. You have learned to be your own best company, and that is a rare and precious gift. Third, understand that your mind has simply moved ahead of the herd. You're not broken, you're not damaged, you're not too much, or too deep, or any of the other labels people have tried to stick on you. Your consciousness has expanded beyond the boundaries that contain most people, and yes, that expansion is isolating, but it's also liberating. You see things they don't see. You understand things they'll never understand. You've touched a truth they're too afraid to acknowledge. You weren't meant to fit in. You were meant to see clearly, and clear vision always comes at the cost of comfort. So stop apologizing for it. Stop trying to shrink yourself back into the box you've outgrown. Stop pretending you're the same person you were before you woke up. You're not, and that's not a tragedy. That's an evolution. Fourth, choose your connections carefully. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone has earned the right to your vulnerability. Not everyone can handle the depth of who you are, and that's okay. Be selective, be rare, be intentional. When you meet someone who speaks your language, who understands your silence, who doesn't need you to explain yourself, hold on to them. These people are treasures in a world of trinkets, but until then, be comfortable walking alone, because a meaningful life is not a popular life, and a clear mind is not a comfortable mind. You have chosen truth over comfort, and truth has chosen loneliness over lies. This is the price, but it is also the gift. So here we are, at the end of our conversation, you and I, sitting together in this strange digital intimacy. Let me leave you with one final thought. Most people are terrified of being alone with their thoughts, but you survived it. You walked into the darkness of your own mind and came out the other side. You faced the void and did not flinch. You saw through the illusions that keep others sedated, and you chose truth, even when truth was painful. That takes courage, more courage than most people will ever know. And if the price of that courage is fewer friends, fewer connections, fewer people who understand you, then so be it, because what you've gained is something far more valuable. You've gained yourself. You are not broken because you have fewer friends. You are awake. And in a world that runs on sleep, wakefulness will always feel like exile. But it is a glorious exile. It is the exile of the prophet, the philosopher, the artist, the one who sees. If this video felt personal, it was. I wrote it for you. For the one sitting alone right now, wondering if something is wrong with them. Nothing is wrong with you. You have simply outgrown the lies, and there is no going back. Stay awake, stay calm, stay selective. And remember, the loneliness you feel is not emptiness. It is space. Space for truth, for depth, for the rare and real connections that matter. Everything else is just noise.